This video is opinion-based commentary. It explores ideas, systems, and patterns from a personal analytical perspective. It does not present facts, target individuals, or claim objective truth. What if one of the loudest cultural forces today isn't just a movement, but something much closer to a cult? Not in an obvious way, but in how it slowly shapes behavior, loyalty, and fear of standing alone. I'm not talking about politics. I'm talking about behavior. And when you slow it down, certain patterns start to repeat. Patterns that show up whenever pressure replaces discussion and agreement becomes expected. A cult isn't defined by outfits or rituals. It's defined by behavior, how conformity gets rewarded, and how independent thinking slowly gets punished. The first sign is moral certainty. Everything becomes simple. You're either on the right side or you're treated like part of the problem. And once things are framed that way, questioning stops feeling safe. Once that mindset takes hold, language changes. Words aren't just words anymore. They become tests, traps, and reasons to correct people. And people start watching every sentence they say. Shaming is how the system keeps people in line. You're not debated or reasoned with. You're embarrassed, ignored, and quietly pushed aside. That pressure is usually enough to make people fall back into place without a fight. This is how people get pushed out. Not all at once. Slowly and quietly, until they're no longer welcome in the group. And by the time it's obvious, most people are already gone. When belonging matters more than thinking, people stop being individuals. The group becomes the identity, and standing out starts to feel risky. Being accepted becomes more important than being honest. Over time, people stop thinking for themselves. They trust the system, follow the process, and wait to be told what's acceptable. Questioning slowly feels unnecessary, then uncomfortable, then wrong. And it works because it feels safe. You don't have to think as much. You don't have to stand alone or risk being wrong. All you have to do is stay in line. Leaving isn't scary because of ideas. It's scary because you risk losing friends, jobs, and your place in the social circle. That fear alone is enough to keep most people exactly where they are. The real damage isn't loud or dramatic. It's what quietly disappears: ideas, creativity, and people who stop speaking up. And once they're gone, most people don't even notice what was lost. This isn't about left or right. These patterns show up everywhere, across different movements, whenever pressure replaces thinking. That's why it's important to recognize the behavior, not the label. This keeps happening because it's human nature. People want certainty, safety, and belonging, especially when the world feels unstable. And that desire makes people easier to guide than they realize. So you can decide for yourself, without pressure. This channel exists to look at these patterns calmly, not to tell you what to believe, but to help you notice what's happening. And once agreement is expected, silence starts to feel like the safest option. At some point, belonging turns into loyalty. You're not just welcome anymore. Agreement becomes something that's expected from you. Disagreement stops being normal. It starts getting treated like harm, like something dangerous that needs to be shut down quickly. Not because it's wrong, but because it disrupts the group. Eventually, no one has to silence you anymore. You learn to censor yourself before anyone else has to say a word. That's when control becomes automatic. This spreads because people see what gets rewarded and copy it, and they see what gets punished, so they avoid it. The behavior reinforces itself without anyone giving direct orders. Over time, people change. They speak less, question less, and slowly stop trusting their own judgment. And that loss happens so gradually it barely gets noticed. When this spreads across society, things get quieter. Fewer ideas, less debate, and more people just going along to get along. Not because everyone agrees, but because speaking up stops feeling worth it. They just keep moving forward unchecked. It looks calm on the surface, but it's dangerous. When no one pushes back, bad ideas don't get challenged or corrected. This isn't new. The same pattern shows up again and again throughout history, just under different names and faces. Technology changes, but the behavior stays the same. The goal isn't panic or outrage. It's noticing the pattern early, while you still have room to think clearly, before pressure makes the choice for you. No one has to tell you what to think. The responsibility is noticing when pressure replaces reason in your own life. That awareness is what keeps your judgment intact. Those small choices add up more than most people realize. This doesn't show up in big speeches. It shows up in small moments. What you say, what you don't say, and when you stay quiet. Awareness isn't rebellion. It's just paying attention so you don't give up your judgment without realizing it. It doesn't require conflict, just honesty with yourself. When you step back, the pattern becomes easier to see. And distance makes manipulation harder to miss. You don't need to announce it. Thinking for yourself can be quiet. And most of the time, it's meant to be. The point isn't what to think, it's making sure you still can. That ability matters more than any single opinion.